Have you ever known someone, perhaps even yourself, whose words flow incessantly, filling every silence, yet their mind remains perpetually restless, unable to find peace? What if the very act of constant talking, of endlessly expressing and reacting, is inadvertently tying you to a world of external chaos, preventing you from ever truly returning to the profound stillness within? And what if the deepest wisdom, the most liberating truth, blooms not in the grand pronouncements, but in the radical, transformative power of absolute silence? Today, we journey into a profound Buddhist parable that challenges our most fundamental assumptions about communication, connection, and the true source of inner peace. We'll witness a talkative monk's arduous quest to master himself, a journey that begins with a simple vow of silence and leads to an astonishing revelation about the nature of the mind. This isn't just a story about ancient teachings, it's a direct, transformative guide for anyone grappling with a restless mind, seeking clarity amidst the noise, and yearning for genuine self-mastery. Prepare to discover why closing your mouth can open your entire inner universe, leading you to a silence so profound, it echoes with the very roar of truth. Chapter 1. The Talkative Disciple, a Mind Adrift in the Sea of Words. Once upon a time, in a tranquil ashram nestled beside a flowing river, lived a Zen master of profound wisdom and his many disciples. Among them was one particular disciple who was known throughout the community for his incessant talking. He was, to put it mildly, a chatterbox. This disciple seemed to be constantly engaged in conversation, speaking about anything and everything, rarely finding a moment of silence. He would talk about worldly affairs, current events, and often, sadly, about others. He would return from his daily alms rounds, bringing not just food, but a new story from every house, eager to share them with the other disciples in the ashram. He had a particular habit of speaking ill of one disciple to another, engaging in gossip and backbiting, subtly trying to make himself look good by making others look bad. He was also a master of self-promotion, constantly trying to appear virtuous and wise in front of others, always seeking to prove himself superior to his fellow disciples. He would often praise himself openly, boasting about his knowledge and accomplishments. In front of the master, he always attempted to present himself as the most intelligent and the most excellent among all the disciples. Striving for special recognition, he genuinely believed himself to be different and superior to all his peers. This disciple, full of pride, often justified his presence in the monastery by saying, "I am a child from a wealthy family. If I had chosen, I could have led a comfortable and luxurious life, filled with every convenience, but I left all that behind and came here, to this simple ashram, because I seek to explore, to know myself deeply, to understand the true meaning of life itself." While his aspiration was noble, his actions often contradicted his stated purpose. One day, the master, observing the habits of all his disciples, called them all together. "All of you," he said, his voice calm and clear, "must take a vow for the next month. This will strengthen your resolve and infuse you with inner power. You may each choose a vow according to your own capacity, and if anyone's vow is broken before the month is complete, they may return to their old routine without shame." All the disciples thoughtfully chose vows suited to their strengths and weaknesses, informing the master before departing. But the talkative disciple, eager to distinguish himself, went directly to the master's hut. "Master," he declared, "I do not wish to take a small vow. I wish to take a great vow, one worthy of my profound dedication." He implied a desire for a vow as great as his perceived self. "Please tell me, what vow should I take?" The master smiled, seeing through his pride. Upon hearing this, the master smiled and said, "Can you fulfill a vow given by me? Will it be possible for you to complete it? Perhaps not. It may not be possible for you. You will not be able to complete it. Therefore, find a vow for yourself." The master's words were a direct challenge to the disciple's ego. But the disciple, blinded by pride, insisted, "No, master, whatever vow you give me, I will surely complete it." Buddhist insight. This opening establishes the disciple's core problem: excessive talking, often unskillful speech. Rooted in tanha, craving for attention, superiority, and avidya, ignorance of true wisdom. His gossiping, backbiting, and self-praise are forms of akusala karma, unwholesome actions, particularly related to right speech, Samavaka. The master's challenge to take a vow aims to cultivate viriya, right effort, and samadhi, concentration. His specific challenge of a great vow to the talkative disciple, knowing his weakness, is a upaya, skillful means, designed to directly address the root of his mental agitation and ego. The dialogue highlights the disciple's self-deception and clinging to a false sense of self. Chapter 2. The Silent Burden, the Inner Roar of Unspoken Thoughts. The master, seeing the disciple's stubborn pride, finally gave him the vow, "Very well. Then, for the next month, you shall remain silent. Do not utter a single word from your mouth. This is your vow." The disciple, surprised by the simplicity of it, but convinced it was too easy, replied, "Master, is this even a vow? This is very easy. Please give me a vow worthy of my ability." The master simply said, "First, go and complete this vow." The disciple accepted the master's words, and immediately, he fell silent, turning and walking out of the hut. He truly believed that being silent would be incredibly easy. He managed to get through the first day in silence, albeit with some effort, but from the second day onwards, the burden of not speaking began to weigh heavily on his mind. A strange sense of confinement, of internal pressure, started to build. By the third day, he felt a profound heaviness in his being, an almost suffocating sensation, and by the fourth day, a peculiar restlessness, an agitated restlessness, began to consume him. This was because all the other disciples in the ashram were talking to each other, sharing stories, engaging in discussions. He, the one who always had something to say, longed to put forward his own opinions, to argue his points, to silence their opposing views with his wit. But his vow stood in his way. Like an invisible barrier, he spent entire days just making faces, trying to express himself non-verbally, unable to speak, his inner voice screaming to be heard. As more days passed in this manner, the struggle intensified. The disciple fell ill. His head throbbed as if it would burst. His mind a chaotic cacophony of unspoken words. He lost his appetite. He had no desire to eat or drink. All he wanted was to speak, to release the immense pressure building inside him. He felt as though he was going insane from the internal silence. He went to the master's hut again, sat before him, and, desperate, wrote a note describing his torment. "Master, I want to speak. I cannot breathe without speaking. I am suffocating. My mind is going crazy inside. What should I do? Should I break my vow?" The master, upon reading his note, smiled gently. "My son," he replied, his words profound. "Vows are not meant to break people. But one who completes their vow strengthens their inner power. And one who strengthens their inner power progresses on the path of self-awareness and enlightenment. Taking the vow was in your hands, and breaking it is also in your hands. Many of your brothers have already broken their vows and returned to their old routines. If you cannot do it, you too can break your vow and return to your old routine. But remember, if you cannot control this small vow today, how will you control your entire life? The rest of the decision is entirely in your hands." The master's words struck the disciple deeply, piercing his heart with their undeniable truth. He left without a word, his inner turmoil now coupled with profound reflection. He returned to his hut and locked himself inside. He only emerged for his essential duties, spending the rest of his time in profound solitude within his small dwelling. 15 days passed. By this time, almost all the other disciples in the ashram had broken their vows, unable to sustain their chosen disciplines. But his vow, the vow of silence, was still unbroken. The entire ashram was astonished. How could such a talkative person remain silent for so long? Buddhist insight. This chapter illustrates the immense difficulty of mastering the mind, even through a simple act like silence. The disciple's internal struggle and physical illness highlight the dukkha, suffering, arising from tanha, craving for speech, expression, and dosa, aversion, to the imposed silence. His attempts to communicate non-verbally show the mind's incessant need to express itself. The master's deliberate response, allowing him the option to break the vow, is a skillful means, upaya, that forces the disciple to confront his own willpower and the true source of his suffering. The master's question, "If you cannot control this small vow today, how will you control your entire life?" is a powerful insight into the interconnectedness of seemingly small habits with overall self-mastery. emphasizing right effort, samavayama, and self-reliance. Chapter 3. The True Silence, Beyond External Quietude to Inner Stillness. After 15 days, the disciple again approached his guru. He wrote to him, "Master, I am silent on the outside, but inside me, there are many voices, many screams, many complaints. My mind constantly talks to itself, asking all sorts of questions. I am as noisy on the inside as I am silent on the outside. Is my vow still valid in this state?" The guru looked at the disciple's eyes very carefully for a long time. "Yes," he said, "your vow is still valid. But as long as these voices of others keep echoing in your ears, your mind will continue to speak. It has become a habit. Even if you remain silent externally, you will continue to speak internally. You must go away from these thoughts, from these sounds." The disciple bowed to the guru and, early in the morning, left the ashram, heading deep into the forest. Days passed. The time for the vow also completed. But the disciple did not return. Everyone in the ashram feared that he might have been eaten by wild animals. Many attempts were made to find him, but he was nowhere to be found. His fellow disciples had given up hope of his return. But the guru knew better. One day, another disciple of the ashram came to the guru and asked, "Master, what do you think happened to our talkative brother? Did an animal kill him?" The guru replied, "It is possible that animals made him their prey. But there could be another reason for his not returning. Perhaps he has found what he went for." Then, 3 months passed since the disciple left the ashram. No news. Everyone had given up hope of his return. But one day, he returned to the ashram. He was not the same person who had left. He had come back transformed, utterly different. A profound change could be felt within him. His face now held a deep stillness, a remarkable serenity, and his eyes radiated an immense peace. Upon entering the ashram, all his fellow disciples immediately surrounded him. Eager to talk, he began talking to his guru brothers, and everyone who spoke to him experienced a dramatic difference. He was no longer the impulsive, talkative, and argumentative person he used to be. Every single word that came from his mouth was incredibly well thought out, profound, and filled with a sweetness, a wisdom that touched everyone deeply. After talking with his guru brothers for a while, he went directly to the guru. He touched the guru's feet and asked, "Guru Dev, am I still silent? Is my vow still valid?" The guru looked at the disciple's eyes very carefully for a long time, observing his transformation. "Yes," he said, "you are still silent. Not a single word is coming from your mouth, and your vow is still valid." The disciple then explained his profound journey. "Guru Dev, when I left the ashram, I was silent on the outside, but inside me, there were many voices, many questions, and they would not stop. So I went into the jungle, hoping to find peace there and quiet the incessant chatter of my mind. But the more I went into solitude, the louder the voices inside me became. The oldest, deepest voices from within me began to speak. It was then that I first realized how wrong I had been. When I used to speak ill of my family, my friends, and my guru brothers, at that time, I believed I was right. When I used to gossip about my guru brothers and make fun of them, I still believed I was better than them, that I was right. But that day, in the deep silence of the jungle, I felt for the first time how utterly wrong I had been in my words. For many days, these voices, these complaints, these judgments, continued within me, but slowly, gradually, day by day, these voices, these internal conflicts, simply ceased. Now, I have become silent even from within. In that dense jungle, there was no one speaking on the outside, and no voice remained within. And that day, for the very first time, I truly understood the meaning of silence. There was immense peace all around me, although some sounds were still coming. Sounds that had always been there but which I couldn't hear before. Now I could hear them clearly. The sound of the wind, the chirping of birds, the flowing of water. I heard all these sounds consciously for the first time. I had never felt such peace all around me before. And to break this immense, beautiful peace, I uttered a word for the first time from my mouth. I shouted, "Oh God, what kind of peace is this? Why is everything so calm? What has happened?" But even after my shouting, the peace was not broken. Everything remained as calm as before, both outside and inside. "Oh Guru Dev," the disciple continued, his eyes radiating profound understanding. I have talked with my guru brothers. I have talked with you. I am speaking. I am walking. I am seeing everything. But I am utterly alone inside. In deep solitude. In profound silence. Even when I am in a crowd. I am alone and in solitude inside. Even when I want to make noise within myself. I am in solitude. Now, everything has become visible. Everything has become audible. The guru, his face alight with joy, replied, "My son, as long as we keep speaking towards the outside, there will always be unrest inside. But the day we turn inwards, the day we become silent within, then whatever comes out of our mouth, we will remain in peace." Most of the evils in the world arise from our speech. Because we do not want to remain silent. We speak more than necessary. We do not want to listen to the person in front of us. Instead, we want to silence them, to make them understand who we are and what we can do. And this becomes the only purpose of our life. All our energy is wasted in useless talk. In this way, people's lives in society are filled with suffering. Because they are always trying to make others listen. Never trying to listen to each other. Never trying to understand. And they have never learned to be silent. Because silence makes them feel small. All the world's quarrels are caused by our speech. Therefore, we should only speak as much as is necessary. Because useless talk is a waste of energy. And this very speaking keeps us from ever returning within. Because it keeps us pulled outwards. And what is there outside beyond this worldly existence? But if we wish to turn towards the inner world, then this mouth should remain closed. That is why, the Guru concluded, all the Buddhas, all the self-realized beings, have always sought solitude and silence, so that they do not have to speak much, nor listen much. They remain in solitude and peace, and thus, they can easily embark on the inner journey. But if one wishes, one can remain in solitude and peace even while living in this world. But for this, they will have to save the energy which they are now wasting in useless words. Buddhist insight. This parable is a profound exploration of right speech, samma vaka, and right mindfulness, samma sati. Particularly the cultivation of inner silence. The disciples' initial struggle demonstrates how tanha, craving for expression, and dosa, hatred, judgment, fuel akusala karma, unwholesome speech, leading to inner dukkha, suffering, and illness. The master's vow of silence is a upaya, skillful means, to force introspection. The disciples' journey into the forest reveals that true silence is internal, not just external, and that the voices within, past conditioning, judgments, can be louder than external noise. His ultimate realization is the fruit of vipassana, insight into the nature of his own mind, leading to nirodha, cessation of suffering from mental agitation. The master's final teaching emphasizes that excessive speech is a waste of energy that prevents inner journey. Linking right effort, samma vayama, to samma vaka, it highlights that true peace is independent of external noise and can be found even in a crowd by cultivating inner solitude. Conclusion. The silence within, your path to true power and unending peace. The timeless Zen parable of the talkative disciple is far more than a simple story about monastic discipline. It's a profound, living testament to the transformative power of inner silence and mindful speech. It challenges our conditioned belief that constant verbal engagement is the only path to influence, connection, or fulfillment, revealing instead that the deepest wisdom, the most profound peace, and the most effective action are born from the discerning stillness of a mind truly at rest. Key learnings for your personal Buddha story. True silence is internal, not just external. The initial vow of outer silence merely revealed the inner cacophony of the disciple's mind. Real peace comes when you quiet the internal chatter, the constant stream of thoughts, judgments, and complaints. Application. Regularly practice mindfulness, sati, focusing on your breath or sensations, to observe your thoughts without engaging them. Understand that merely being quiet on the outside doesn't mean your mind is at peace. True peace begins within. Excessive speech fuels suffering, dukkha, and wastes energy. Unnecessary or unskillful talk, especially when driven by ego, negativity, or the desire to prove oneself, depletes your energy, agitates your mind, and creates conflict. Application. Become aware of how much and why you speak. Before uttering a word, ask, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it beneficial? Choose your words carefully, The quality of your speech reflects the quality of your mind. This is right speech, samavaka. Silence cultivates inner power and clarity when the mind is quieted. Its energy is conserved and redirected inward, leading to profound self-discovery, heightened awareness, and increased concentration. Application: dedicate at least 20 minutes daily to solitude and silence. Use this time for meditation or quiet reflection. This practice strengthens your inner resolve, virya, and clarifies your purpose. The cause of suffering is internal, not external. The disciple initially blamed others for his restlessness, but realized his own speaking habits and negative thinking were the root cause. Anger, lust, and other defilements originate within. Application: take full responsibility for your emotional states. When anger or restlessness arises, look inward to understand its source in your own desires or aversions, rather than blaming external circumstances or other people. Inner solitude in any environment. The ultimate goal is to achieve inner peace and solitude even amidst crowds and noise. This means being detached from external distractions and being grounded in your inner stillness. Application: practice equanimity, upekkha. Learn to observe the external world without letting it disturb your inner calm. Realize that your true sanctuary is always within you, accessible regardless of your physical location. The Buddha's profound wisdom, beautifully illuminated by this parable, invites us to embark on a transformative journey, from being slaves to our impulses and the noise of the world, to becoming masters of our own minds through the discerning, liberating power of inner silence. This is the essence of your authentic Buddha story. Thank you for watching, and may you always carry the profound peace and illuminating wisdom of these stories within your heart. Join our growing community by liking this video and subscribing to Buddha Story, where ancient wisdom beautifully meets modern mindfulness. How will you cultivate the power of silence in your own life this week to achieve deeper peace and clarity? Share your reflections and experiences in the comments below. Until our next encounter, may your path be filled with profound peace, deep understanding, and the radiant light of your own awakening.